in, ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in on what is, again, our last show of the week. And I'm promising you right now, okay, based off this show sheet, based off the slate of college football games coming up this weekend, I promise you it's going to be our best show of the week. And we've had some insane ones this week. Our boy Gary, came and joined us. We had Aaron Murray on Monday, had 2 film studies. Okay, this is our 8th hour of live content this week. And we've been going strong, boys. I got to be honest with you. We've been knocking it out. Super proud of the work that we've been doing, obviously, as of late. We got a great one for you. We're going to go through our final predictions. The transfer portal is hopping again. Okay, some pretty big names jumped in there today that we felt worthy of coming to talk to you about. Is this the last weekend of meaningful conference championship games? We'll talk about that tonight, why it is, why it isn't. And, of course, we're going to play unless it doesn't happen. But I want to talk about this portal news to start tonight's show. DJ Uiagalelei hit him with the new one. Okay, y'all heard the new one? Y'all heard the new one? This the new one. You ready? I'm a 5th year, got a COVID year, got a super senior. All right, I got a year eligibility. But I might want to go to the NFL. But I might not be good enough for the NFL. But this transfer portal free agent market kind of fire. This thing kind of on fire. So here's what I'm finna do. I'm fitting to release a statement that says I am entering the portal, but I am also maybe exploring my NFL draft possibilities. So you know what this is. This is pitting NFL money or NFL free agent or draft, stock versus how much money can I get on the open market in college football. And that's what we've come to. So for those of you, and this is what I think people really need to start honing in on. For those of you doing the, can we get enough NIL money to keep this first rounder back into college? Y'all need to save those takes. And where you really need to be focusing your energy on is older guys that are 3rd, 4th, 5th round draft picks that are passing up those opportunities to take some NIL money, which seems to be what some of this case is right here with DJ Uiagalelei.
Could this not also be I'm going to enter the transfer portal, go on a couple of visits, get a few bags, and say, actually, yeah, I'm going to go to the NFL draft?
Hey, whatever you can do nowadays to get that bread.
Obviously that's against the rules. But.
No, it ain't. It's very out here and open. There was jokes about Ohio State's president going on to Congress and saying that they're having high school recruits charge appearance fees for recruiting visits. And a lot of people were like, damn, for real? That's wild. No, that shit's happening. We got 19, 20-year-old kids, 17, 18-year-old kids demanding racks to come to your school to watch a free football game. Absurd some of the stuff going on. So, yeah, you could imagine there's some leveraging going on right about now.
So essentially, DJU found a way to do what college basketball players can do, because you can declare for the NBA draft as a college basketball player, but still return. The only thing you can't do is you can't sign with an agent.
So he can do this until, I think the 3rd weekend of January. There's an actual hardline date to where you have to officially declare for the NCAA or for the NFL draft, therefore removing your eligibility in college football. But yeah, there is a hardline date. But from now until then, he can just weigh his options and literally just run up a rack if he wants to, which seems to be what they're doing. It was in the statement. It's the first time I've seen it. I'm going to explore my NIL free agency in the portal, and I'm also going to see how much I'm worth in terms of an NFL draft stock, which I would think is like 4th, 5th, 6th round. Yeah, he's a hired arm, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the build to be enough just to get drafted. I don't know about skill
a hired
set.
arm.
Yeah.
Let's bring him in. Worst case scenario, he's a practice squad guy that throws beams for us during Monday through Thursday.
So you can sign NIL deals while you're not on a team still, right?
I mean, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's just people giving you money. It's not an actual deal. By the way, that's the thing. These whole NIL deals, it's the same thing it's been for years. We're just not we're not running it down nowadays. It's boosters giving cash. It's why we haven't seen the IRS get involved, I think.
Right.
Like there ain't nothing to run down. Y'all can't run.
Yeah,
Y'all can't do shit.
You do see the billboards and the commercials and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that.
see the
but
standard stuff,
those
but
are
it's
your-
only for the
but-
high end dudes.
Yeah.
You know, not like what we were talking about last night where we got former mid-major teams out here willing to give multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars to 2 players. I'm sure that's not coming from the local insurance company that wants them to get on the insurance company commercials.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not where that income is coming from. So I got some good fits for DJU. You want to hear them?
Let's hear 'em.
I got one that I'm really juiced up about.
Yeah, let's hear these.
Okay, how about Arkansas fans trading KJ Jefferson for DJU?
That I could see.
Bobby Petrino coming in there, likes to be a power play action football team. How about Michigan? JJ McCarthy leaves. Don't know what's going on there. They got Jaden Daniels, or not Jaden Daniels, Jaden, it is Jaden Daniels, the 2024 quarterback commit that's committed to them right now out of North Carolina.
Yeah,
Don't want to be starting a true freshman.
Yeah, I feel like you can recruit better than DJU. No offense to him.
All right, how about little brother, where his coach is going, Michigan State? Follow his coach from Oregon State to
That's
Michigan
much
State.
more enticing.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Jack Plummer is already on his 3rd school at Louisville, okay? 5th year, going to be gone this year, you'd imagine. How about DJU to Louisville?
I like that. I think that's a good fit.
That's a good fit.
Like that
What about
too.
South Carolina?
I think they're so far up the KJ Jefferson sweepstakes.
Yeah.
They had 2 quarterbacks hit the portal today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
fishy.
That screams.
That does scream.
Yeah,
oh,
they're
shit,
getting
something's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting a QB from the portal. I'm not wasting my time.
And by the way, South Carolina, sneaky NIL school.
Oh yeah.
Sneaky. I like the Lad McConkey of NIL schools.
Oh God.
Yeah. Like the Julian Edelman of NIL schools.
There's about 600 people in here that will not get that.
No, you're right. This is my favorite. My absolute favorite. And I don't know if it's possible because I think they're going to stick with that shitty quarterback they got now.
Damn.
Bro, you can't tell me he's been anything worse than or anything better than some shit.
He did
this
not
year.
have a good season. I'm not going to
How about Kentucky? How about Kentucky saying, to hell with Devin Leary, we gave it a run. Let's bring in DJU to run this play action deep ball.
The only thing that turns me off from that is envisioning DJU in a Kentucky jersey.
Do you have the pronunciation of this, by the way?
Uyunga LA.
Uyunglele.
Yeah. I like that.
It's just less syllables to say DJU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
much simpler.
Took us a while. By the time we finally figure that one out, he's going to be at some school that nobody's paying attention to. You think it's another big-time Power 5? I mean, it was Clemson, then it was Oregon State, and it can't be up, right?
I think he could very well find his way onto another Power 5 team just because of how desperate teams are to find a quarterback this year. And when you see, oh, this is a 5th-year guy that's had experience at Clemson and Oregon State, we need to get on this immediately. They'll be quick to jump on it, I think.
Look, I mean, I don't hate the Michigan one because that's exactly the type of system that he would fit in of I get to hand the ball off 25, 30, 40 times a game, and then I'll spin it 20 times as well.
Have we heard anything out of the Joe Milton camp?
No.
Is he coming back declaring? What is going on there?
I don't know. I hadn't heard anything.
I'm sure they want to get to Nico as fast as possible if that were to be the case. So maybe they take like a mid-major guy that wants to get out and take a bag, and they pay him like X amount of dollars to be their backup at Tennessee next year. Because you can't go into a season with one quarterback on your roster that we know about.
Right.
The other one's Jake Merklinger, who's a 2024 kid from Calvary Day. Yeah, Tennessee fans, I know your roster like that. So I don't think it's going to be like that. I think they're going to if Nico's ready, they won't. But you still got to go get a backup and a guy that knows he's going to come in and be a backup.
So you're saying Joe Milton enters a transfer portal after that?
No, I'm saying if Joe Milton's only option right now is to go to the league or come back, I don't think they ask him to leave. They don't ask him to hit the portal. He's either going to the NFL or he's going to come back and start another year.
So you think they'd start him over Nico even after what happened this season?
I think so, based off of everything they kept saying.
Yeah,
Every time Hypo got in front of a camera, it was all everybody else's fault. And the quarterback could play better.
And that's of the feeling we don't think Nico would be ready next year. We need another year as well.
My only worry is if you put Joe Milton out there another season, how quickly does that fan base start going, all right, what are we doing here? Hypo doesn't have the answers. We need to get him out of here.
It's a good point. He plays Nico. He at least gets 2 full seasons of grace.
You play Nico at least, okay, it's his first year with the team.
Yeah.
You come back with Milton, it's like, why are you doing this again?
Another interesting portal entry from the quarterback position. And this one, to me, is the best quarterback available that might be available at all in the portal. That includes Riley Leonard. And I love Riley. But Dante Moore entering the transfer portal today as a former 5-star, the highest-rated commit ever, highest-rated signee ever at UCLA. I have 3 years of eligibility left. And I know it looked rough this year. I don't know how it wouldn't have, though. They had transfers on the offensive line, I think 3 of 5 positions. He was asked to start very early on in his career. And guess what? He wasn't doing it with a ton of help. They were a run-based offense this year as well. So Dante Moore, to me, is super intriguing. And this is going to end up at a place like Ohio State,
What about
Oregon?
Oregon.
What about LSU?
That's a good look,
That's
too.
another
Because
one.
Jane Downs is
And
gone.
that's a good call because Brian Kelly had an actual solid relationship during the recruitment process. I think LSU was one of his finalists.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to say they still have Nussmeier.
I like Nussmeier.
Yeah, I
do
like
too.
Nussmeier too, but I mean Dante Moore, I think, is the flashy sports car in that pick.
So we got some questions in the chat. Portal opened today. I thought it was Monday. It is Monday, but
It's planning to enter the portal.
yeah, planning to enter the portal. Sources say
Yeah.
it's a big time sources say season.
Mm-hmm.
Big time sources say
Yeah.
season. Love a good sources say. I'm just source in bold colon guy. I don't like to do the sources say. Of course,
No-
the sources said it to you.
No
That's why you're
hashtag
claiming it.
sources?
No, I don't hashtag sources either. I don't think the hashtag sources is getting a lot of impressions either.
No.
Hashtag Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. Hashtag NIL package. Hashtag read my article. No, I don't do that a lot. But I do like Dante Moore. But we've already kind of gone through all the landing spots. Is anybody that could be on the horizon we didn't talk about?
I thought
Maybe
the
Malik Murphy at Texas, if that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean,
He might hit.
there's a possibility Arch is there too.
I don't think Arch is important.
I don't either. I don't get the whole question. I don't get the whole speculation of Arch is going to hit the portal. I don't understand that.
We'll find out where he truly ranks on that depth chart if Malik hits the portal.
Plus,
If Malik hits the portal, he'll already know I'm not winning. The
and I
job
think
next
this
year.
kind of confirms my thought process of they gave him snaps last week. They put him in the football game. They let him get his first snap as a
lots of
Texas
snaps.
Longhorn.
Quinn Ewers not play last week though,
No, Quinn Ewers did play.
Yeah,
so they
he
went
played.
through all 3 quarterbacks.
Yes.
Yeah. So Malik played as well.
I think so.
I'll double check, but go ahead.
I just remember the whole Twitter thing of Arch Manning officially in the football game for the Texas
Fox put out a
Longhorns.
highlight of him. It's 2.5 minutes long, and I think 90 seconds of it is him handing the ball off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like not even like read options. Like
That's how it was
traditional
on
handoffs.
their spring game. It was literally him running for his life and chucking the ball out of bounds. And it was like, well, that's great.
Ooh,
But no, I think I think Malik Murphy would be the first quarterback to leave before Arch in that scenario because he has been there longer. So
I'm trying to find it right now. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think
No.
it's a big deal in the sense that we'll find out who the actual number 2 is right there.
we finna see. Where would Malik
Um,
Murphy go? What's a good spot for him?
He didn't. I don't think he had an attempt Saturday.
I think Ohio State is a more likely place for a guy like Malik Murphy rather than DJU.
Oh, Ohio State's a dream offense for Malik Murphy. He would look like Cardell Jones in that thing. I'm
that's
telling
scary.
No one's talking about FSU being in the quarterback market.
you.
That is true.
Just saying.
That is very true.
So here's what you know about them big dogs. All right, here's what you ought to know about them. That's going to be an in and out. That's going to be oh, damn, they nabbed that guy quick.
Yeah.
Just like Riley Leonard and Notre Dame, which ain't even official yet, but it's so unofficial that everybody's already talking about it like it is.
Yeah, so I think for some of these big names, you need to start looking at Florida State because Jordan Travis not going to be there next year.
I'm jealous I didn't have that take.
Yeah, I forgot about Florida State, honestly.
Getting a look at the backup right now, maybe not looking too promising. Definitely going to be looking to go into the transfer portal quarterback market, especially because you've kind of started to hit your peak, and you definitely want to keep that momentum rolling.
I already know South Carolina is going to be a player here.
From Malik Murphy?
No, just in general
Okay,
for quarterbacks.
I was like, I don't know if
Because that's what you got to boil it down to. Who's
Yeah.
who's the players left? You would imagine Oregon's going to be a player. Maybe USC, or do you think they like Nicholas Singleton or Malachi Singleton?
I think they'll stick with Malcolm.
Yeah, we're
I feel like
Malachi Nelson. Excuse me.
Lincoln
We're gonna
Riley
find out.
usually rocks with the guys that he recruits.
all of his quarterbacks have been transfers.
They all. But yeah, that's a good point. But Caleb kind of bunks that because he signed
And
him at
Spencer.
Oklahoma and he transferred to him, and Spencer Rattler, but he transferred out.
But I mean, Jalen was a transfer. Baker Mayfield was a transfer. Kyler
Kyler.
Murray was a transfer. So Lincoln does like transfer quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Chat's giving you shit for your glacier water, your Iceland glacier water.
What?
They said that's why you pick Bama, because you pay $5 for a bottle of water.
I think you bought this
I
bottle.
did. That's what I was
actually.
about to tell him. So I brought it up because your boy bought that water. Where were we at? We were coming back from Knoxville.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big recycler of the water bottle, Christian Kirby. So,
Hey man, I
very
care about the
efficient.
earth.
Yeah, that water bottle has clearly been through it.
Yeah, that one's synced it. So yeah, good stuff there. Who else we got? Antoine Wells from South Carolina.
Look.
Juice Wells hit the portal. That was some fishy shit going on up there. If you're a South Carolina fan, you just got AD Mitchelled. That's what happened. All right, you had a talented wide receiver get hurt midway through the season, and then everybody and their mama blew that phone up and said, "We will give you so much freaking money to come play for us next year and get out of that 5-7 football program. All you got to do is never play another snap for that 5-7 football program." That's exactly what happened, in my professional, unsourced opinion. Juice Wells saw the market very early on and said, "You know what? My foot do be hurting."
I might be remembering this wrong, but have people not abandoned ship at South Carolina like a lot?
I was just about to
All
say
the
this.
talented
I was
players.
about to hit on this as I was going to say this is a second year in a row where this is starting to happen where like the
Marshawn Lloyd, Jaheim Bell.
floodgates open for South Carolina, and it further validates the opinion of we hopped off on the Shane Beamer train at the right time. I'm just not believing it
I
right
was-
now.
I don't know
was-
if I was
I was-
ever on it as much
I
as
was
some
about to
people.
say. I was about to say. I jumped off that thing about 2 "I'd play for this guy" tweets. Too
You were the
late.
conductor of that train for a while.
Chill out, bro.
I was right there with you. What sold me was the time where
It won't happen to me again. I won't get duped by one of these guys again. Almost like a snake oil salesman is what my mama used
you know
to
what?
call him.
I'm starting to get the same vibes about Eli Drinkowitz. I am.
Don't you do it.
I'm doing it. I am doing it. There's
Why?
been some vibes around him this season, like the standing on business thing. That immediately was like,
yeah.
bro, I don't know about all that.
Cringe.
And just stuff. I'm like, okay, I loved Eli at the beginning of the season, and then the cargo shorts and the whole recruiting celebration. Like, there's some stuff about him
But-
where I'm like, I don't
But
know
he
about
won
it,
10
man.
games at Missouri.
No,
Here's the other
absolutely.
Thing, here's my other thing about Eli Drinkowitz. You're going to be in a conference next year that has Oklahoma, Texas, and a very good Georgia. It's the SEC. You know who's going to be there. People are going to come into that season expecting another 10-win season. You have to finish top 10 from now on if you're Eli Drinkowitz. Otherwise, it's going to be a massive disappointment.
Another starting quality football player in the form of our guy Trevor Etienne hit the portal down there at Florida as well today. I expect some big players there,
Dabo Sweeney.
including Georgia.
Dabo Sweeney.
No, Clemson won't be. Clemson won't be aggressive enough in the NIL transfer portal to be landing a caliber of back like this.
If
this
they
is the best
tried-
back. This is Marshawn Lloyd from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they
That's what this is.
tried, could they have a chance at it?
Clemson.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd have to play the whole Travis, come play where your brother played type thing. They tried to do the same thing coming out of high school, and it didn't work. He wanted to go kind of play where he wanted to play,
Understandable.
which was Florida, and now it ain't working. Everything that I've heard out of this story, which hit the rumor mill 3 days ago.
Yeah.
3 days ago when I texted you guys, hit the rumor mill 3 days ago, and from the moment it hit the rumor mill, it was like, dude wants to win. Dude wants to win now. Dude wants to be a contributor at a place that is going to compete for national titles. That's slim pickings, okay? I'd be looking at the Oregons. I'd be looking at the Georgias. I'd be looking at the Alabamas. I'd be looking at the Ohio States. I'd be looking at the big boys, okay, for this one, because that's exactly what this is. This is I'm trying to go play somewhere else where I know I'm going to be competing for a national title. And I don't blame them.
Oh no,
No.
absolutely. I mean, knowing
It's
knowing the situation is
And
not.
knowing the schedule next year, I do not blame you
Exactly.
at all.
Yeah.
If it were Georgia, are we past the idea that no transfers too gross? I mean, we got Georgia, Alabama swapping players, or at least Alabama taking players from Georgia. Are we beyond the point of, and Georgia Tech taking players from Georgia? Are we beyond the point where transferring to your rivalry is like off the limits?
I think we're way past
way
that.
past
I think
that.
we've been way past
I think
that.
Georgia has only done it one time.
They did it with the safety out of Alabama.
Brandon Turnage.
Yeah.
And now he's at Tennessee.
I mean, Kirby's first year, he took Maurice Smith.
Dude, Alabama's done it 3 times. They've got who the guy you just talked about, Brandon Turnage. They did it with Jermaine Burton and Tresman Marshall.
Yeah.
Well,
We
no,
got 3 of them.
Brandon Turnage came to Georgia briefly,
Yeah.
and then he went to Tennessee very
That
quickly.
was
That was super weird.
I
Very,
mean,
very weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's interchange between rivals all the time. I mean, look at Cade Mays, Maurice Smith. Georgia took Eli Wolf from Tennessee. So, I mean,
Yep.
Oh, that's
it happens a lot. I
The
don't.
Eli Wolf callback is elite right there.
Yeah, it is.
Because that guy had like 7 career catches at Georgia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's an elite callback. Super elite athlete. Very Brett Seathery.
Yeah.
Very Brett Seathery.
Brett Seather went to Tech.
Yeah.
Any
Dominic
non-Georgia
Blaylock.
fan right now is like, what the heck are they
Yeah,
talking
these
they're
guys
talking
are
about.
crazy.
I forgot. Sometimes I'll be morphing and forgetting we're in the national hour. I expect Trevor Etienne to be a big-time player. Do you want to get your spot now?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
All right. So, hang on. Let me get this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and get your
Let me get
slip.
my $5 water out of the way. So
Hey, I'm excited. I don't know what the hell's about to happen, but my man said he want ISO Joe. My man said he got a take he is rather passionate about. So let's hear it.
All right, so first off, let me take this and start this off with saying I believe this 100%. This isn't me, doing show or trying to get a rise out of another fan base. But I came to a realization earlier this morning, and it's that Florida State is absolutely going to be in the top 4 if they win, regardless as to how much they win by,
Okay.
or if they win by a blowout or if they win by 4 points. 10 years ago, we created a committee and told them, your job is to what? Pick the 4 best teams in college football. We didn't give them a metric how to do it. We didn't say you have to go by this, or this. We just said go find the 4 best teams. Now, what's the one thing on this show that we've all said throughout the season, whether it be analysts, players, coaches, etc., that we want from other people?
Consistency.
Exactly. And in those 10 years, and especially this year, the committee has been extremely consistent in how they pick the best teams on what they value the most. It's the records. It's always been the records. You have to be the undefeated move up to the front of the line. It's why the first 5-0 teams, the undefeated teams, were the top 5 teams this season. It's why Ohio State dropped right out as soon as they lost. So the committee's made it very clear that they value wins more than anything else. Florida State would be an undefeated team, 13-0 in there. Now, there's been a major uproar that people who are complaining of putting FSU in the playoff would be a disservice to college football and that you can't look at that team and tell me one of their 4 best teams. Well, where's the consistency there if you're an analyst or someone who's watching it? Because the entire season, the committee has said we rank the 4 best teams by record first. Putting the record first. You can't, at the end of the road, when it comes down to the final week of making decisions, say, hey, we demand consistency from you, but now you have to go back against what you've been doing the whole season because our eye test is telling us this. So I know that, the entire season we've harped on this and criticized the committee, they're not consistent in how they pick teams. They're not consistent in 1 through 5, but they have been. The undefeated teams have always moved to the front of the line. So on Saturday when you see the Seminole head, because he's 13-0, and you can say, I don't think we're their best teams. You can disagree with it, but you have to at least respect the fact that the committee has stuck with their guns and done exactly what we've asked them to do the entire season, which is be consistent in how they pick teams.
I like it. And honestly, to an extent, I'm okay with it because it's not only just who's the most deserving or who's undefeated. It's the most justifiable. That's what this committee's job is to do. This job of this committee is to sit there, make a decision, and then be able to stand in front of people on television and not contradict yourself while explaining it. That's it. Like you said, I think the best part of what you just ran through is tremendously done, by the way. But the best part about what you talked about there was what we give them this task with no actual concept of what we want.
Right.
We just say, bring me the 4 best teams. Well, how? Do you want it based off some type of metric? Do you want it based off gut feel? Do you want it based off general consensus? We don't have every year. It's also always different too. That group of 13 people decide what they decide, and then they come to the front and get in front of a camera and they explain their thought process. And that's why, to me, it's who can we make the 4 most justifiable answers for. It's not who's the best team. It's not who's the most consistent. It's not who's playing the best football right now. It's not who's the most deserving. It's who can I stand in front of a camera and say, this is why this team got in over that team.
Right. And it's always been, for the last 10 years of it, it's been what's your record? And then we'll look at the eye test, we'll look at your strength of schedule, we'll look at head-to-head wins, we'll look at things of that. So the committee is getting it right in the fact that the undefeated teams should be at the front. Whether or not you look at that team and say, hey, they lost their starting quarterback, I don't think they're a top 4 team anymore. Ohio State won a national championship with their 3rd string. Alabama lost a 1,000-yard receiver and still went to the national championship. So you can lose players and still go far in the league. You can't just look at it and say, sorry, you had an injury, you're not in anymore.
So are we okay with the committee lying to us then? Because that's what they did. They set themselves up to lie. They set themselves up over and over again the last 3 weeks. We have heard them talk about how the words most deserving are not in the conversation, that it is about getting the best 4 teams. If that is the case, then assuming, again, if it's a close win, if it's you're down 14-0 against a 7-5 Florida team, or a 5-6 Florida team that you knocked off to make 5-7, are we to assume that's one of the best 4 football teams? We don't know. We don't think so. But if they're undefeated, then I hear a lot of the former football players doing if you've ever suited up, you know how hard it is to go undefeated. I mean, yeah, they've won by an average margin of like 7 points against the bottom end of the ACC over the back end of the last month. So, yeah, they're undefeated, but they're undefeated against a lesser than opponent, it seems like.
Right, but I mean, and the counter of that would be, well, is Alabama one of the 4 best teams even if they beat Georgia this week? Because we saw what they did against Auburn. I mean, what's to say the Alabama that comes out in the semifinals isn't the team that played Auburn?
I'm sorry, but if you beat the number 1 team in the country this year and you only have 1 loss and it's to Texas, you are better than Florida State right now as it currently sits.
Right, but
I honestly probably would have came to this camera and made that opinion if Jordan Travis were healthy. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds absolutely crazy. But if Florida State were and here's the thing, I think people forget about this. They were winning ugly when he was healthy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They were squeaking by, getting by, playing nooners and looking ugly for a large portion of the season. I would imagine half of their games were won like that. Where it's second half, we're just going to lean on these guys. We're going to get out of here and escape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, this is kind of who they've been all year. So, yeah, I would have been out here pounding the table for an Alabama team over this team if Jordan Travis were healthy, assuming that they win this weekend.
Yeah, I guess the point I was kind of getting at is, how do you look at what Alabama did last week and say they're a top 4 team either?
That's fair.
You can't. I mean,
do the rivalry game, do the Jordan Hare thing.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia Tech
would justify it.
Georgia Tech did the same thing against Georgia, where it made them look pretty pedestrian. Georgia should have beat that team by 20-plus points, according to the line. So, I think it's this week-to-week basis where you fall and them say, "Oh, that's not a top 4 team. Look what they just did." Whereas you get into the playoffs and it's, well, maybe they were or maybe they weren't.
Yeah, but I think with Florida State, though, it's like Brooks mentioned, it's been a season-long thing. I don't think it is a week-to-week basis opinion for Florida State. And I agree with what you're saying. I would be completely fine if we put Florida State in the top 4 come Sunday. If they are undefeated and they win the ACC, I think that is fine. I think that's what they probably should do because at that point, they've done enough and they've done what we expected them to. At the beginning of the season, if you said Florida State's undefeated and won the ACC, you would say they need to be in the top 4. So at that point, I'm not going to be mad about it, but I do think that it's not just like cut and dry.
All right,
No, of course it's not cut and dry.
Last 3 games against Power 5 football teams, they beat Pitt 24-7. They beat Miami 27-20. And they beat Florida 24-15.
Yeah.
So again, not exactly. Again, even when they were healthy, they only scored 24 points against Pitt and 27 points against Miami. They haven't been a team putting it up offensively a ton this year, anyways. They racked up a ton of points. They have 66 points against Southern Miss, 41 points against Syracuse, and 41 points against Wake, 58 points against North Al. The rest of the football games are relatively, okay offensively output.
Very Michigan-y.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say. I would say maybe very
more
Michigan-y.
Ohio State-y this year.
Ohio State-y or like Alabama-ish, if without a loss, is what it feels like. Alabama has been a top 25, top 40 offensive team with a top 20 defensive team. This seems kind of to be what they are. They're currently 11th right now in opponent points per game. So, they're defensively they're winning football games. They're rushing the football. So it is what it is. Do we want to play or we want to talk about how this might be the last meaningful conference championship weekend ever?
Let's do it.
It is going to feel weird, all right, when we go to the 12-team college football playoff next year. And if we were to just look at it this week, everybody's in, win, lose, or draw, except for, in my opinion, Oklahoma State, Louisville, and Iowa.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If any of those 3 teams lost, they would be out of a 12-team playoff.
Right.
So for those universities, it matters. And I don't think that's the discussion that we need to get into. Here's the good news about this, all right? And you can thank conference commissioners, and you can thank, I don't know who, but whoever did it first, you can thank them. We're getting rid of divisions in almost every single major Power 5 conference. In fact, I think it is all of them. I think there isn't going to be a Power 5 conference or a Power 4 conference nowadays playing any more division games. So though these games might not mean for top 4 playoff contention anymore, I guarantee you we're going to see 1 versus 2. We're going to see 2 versus 3 and at least half of these matchups, right? This year, guess what? Ohio State, Michigan, that game we all watched and talked about Saturday, we'd be watching that sumbitch again this weekend. Okay, Alabama and Georgia will still meet every single year, it seems like. Or guess what? Maybe next year that's Georgia, Texas. Maybe that's Alabama, Texas. Maybe that's whoever. All right, but I think this weekend will still mean a lot because we'll still get preeminent matchups. And that will always – 1 versus 2 will always be a big game. I don't care what it's for.
Here's the people who are really benefiting next year: Missouri, Penn State, and those teams
You
right
jokers
there
sitting
in
at home inside that top
Yep,
10.
because Missouri's sitting there this week like, oh, we don't even got to play this week, and we pretty much know we're in the playoff.
And we're going to get the loser of Washington and Oregon.
Yep. We already get to start scheming
Yeah.
up who we think we're going to play. We already start to get resting up for our college football playoff game. While Alabama and Georgia, they got to duke it out for a bye.
Yeah. You get to fight for playoff seeding in a bye.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing why it's not going to mean a lot. You retroactively look at the 2021 SEC championship. That game didn't really have an effect on the season because you had both teams in the Natty playing each other a game.
It's going to be like that every year.
I mean, if you had, hypothetically speaking, if you had a 12-team playoff this year, you could see a matchup where Georgia and Alabama play twice, Ohio State and Michigan have a rematch.
They could play 3 times.
Washington and Oregon could play 3 times this season. And it's like I can only get so much Washington. We got tired of seeing Alabama, Clemson for the 3 of the 4 years. You're telling me you're not going to get tired of seeing Washington, Oregon 3 times in a season? So that's where I go. The consequences of these games are going to be gone out the window so much.
This is a tremendous point, actually, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody bring up about how we could get watered down with matchups in a single season. Like, there's potential where next year Georgia has to go and play Texas twice at Texas.
That makes sense. Yeah. But the Big Ten one's the big deal. Like, you could get the game 3 times in a single year.
Yeah,
and then it's no longer the game.
Yeah, it's the games.
Yeah, it's the games.
trilogy.
Yeah.
That would be nuts.
So no one's really talked about how you've set that up for happening because, I mean, you've had rematches already with the 4-team playoff.
You really think people would be out here bitching and complaining about that?
I think
TV
so.
companies won't be, obviously.
No, I don't. I'm
mean-
not complaining. I don't get mad when the Chiefs and the whoever play over and over again. Like, if it's a good matchup, I want to see it.
To an extent, yeah, but it's also like my point is in that 5-year span where Alabama and Clemson basically dominated college football, they just traded blows. By the time we got to like 2020, it was, oh my God, if I have to watch another Alabama Clemson game, this is why college football sucks. This is why we need a 12-team playoff so we get more variety. When in reality, you're just going to get the same matchup over and over again.
We got anything else on this one? All right, let's move on to a lesson doesn't happen. I don't want to ruin our predictions, our final predictions.
I'm going to end up.
Do we want to go final predictions first then?
I think
No.
maybe that's okay.
You do? We got a bunch
I'm
of
going to
these?
ruin mine.
Well, I was going to jokingly ruin my first one.
All right, let's hear it then.
All right.
I'll ruin every single one of mine.
I got Iowa turning Michigan over multiple times in their own end. I got Iowa scoring a special teams touchdown. I got Iowa winning this football game 17-14. And you heard it here first. And I can't even do it. I can't even do that seriously.
I was like, he's really going for it. He's really going to do
I can't
it.
even do it. I can't even do it seriously.
I have Iowa.
No freaking shot in hell.
I have Michigan only wins this game by 10 points or less.
I can see that.
And I think that's a bold.
Like 17-10 in the other way.
Yeah.
I see it a 24-7. Michigan wins an absolute ugly ass football
One of mine
game.
is every single game this weekend is an absolute banger outside of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
That'd be great. How perfect would it be though if Iowa wins this game?
This was our first one on the final predictions, so we can go ahead and get into it. I do have it. I have it a 24-6 football game. And funny enough, we were asking pre-show, is Jim Harbaugh even coaching in this football game? Do you know what the number one Google result is for Jim Harbaugh?
Is Jim Harbaugh coaching?
No, it is Jim Harbaugh linked to the head coaching job at Chicago. I mean, great for y'all. Y'all get to deal with this, and whoever signs up for it next, you get to deal with it too. Because as soon as he's done dealing with, the biggest cheating scandal we've seen out in public and in the open in quite a long time, while also being suspended for half of his regular season. The moment you think you're done with all of this, the moment he's supposed to be coming back to your sideline, so you think, the moment the Big Ten is done with its investigation and y'all concede your 3-game suspension for your wrongdoings, the moment the NCAA is nearing the point of their investigation and you're playing for a Big Ten championship with your head coach back on the sideline, the dude's agent's flirting out the fact that he might be the next head coach at Chicago. It is so funny because they're standing the dude. They are standing right next to this dude as hard as they possibly can. Michigan fans, he does not love you. He doesn't. Okay, he's cheating on you. He's coming home smelling like cigarettes even though he told you he quit smoking years ago. The dude does not love you, guys. He's doing you dirty. Mm-hmm. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
I feel like at this point Michigan fans are almost numb to this happening.
Yeah.
Because for the last 4 years it's been, hey, Harbaugh's kind of looking at going back to the NFL. So, I mean, I when it comes up at this point, it's kind of just like, he always does that. I mean, I think one day we're eventually going to see Jim Harbaugh finalizing deal with whatever NFL team, but
I hate the idea that he's going to do this. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
And not only do this, but walk into a situation where he gets the 2 number 1 overall draft picks in a class and just gets to go restart his career in the NFL and gets to middle finger everything that was Michigan. And look, if he don't care, if he's got the heart to do this, if he's got the guts to do this to his own alma mater, that's on him. I feel bad for the Michigan fans that were in my mentions for months telling me I was an idiot.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing Michigan fans turn on him pretty quickly if that happens.
No.
You don't think so? You think they still defend it?
Michigan men stick by Michigan men. They'll do the whole thing. Here's what they'll do. They'll blame it on the NCAA. They'll say that the NCAA ran Harbaugh away from us because he didn't want to deal with their petty-ass bullshit. That'll be exactly what the message is for Michigan because it's Michigan versus everybody.
Yeah.
It's Michigan versus everybody.
It's America's team.
24-7, Michigan wins this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got like a 23-13.
Oogly.
Yeah.
Oogly football.
You know what? No. Give me like 20-12. I was getting a safety.
A safety.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 4 field goals.
Well, that too.
Nah, they'd have to get the ball past midfield 4 times. They ain't doing that.
That's
shit.
why I think this game's going to be like 27-3. I don't think that Iowa's going to be able to do anything.
How perfect would it be if Iowa wins this game, though?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it would be so beautiful if they did. Would it not?
It would be.
It would, but
I hope it happens. Man. That'd be cool. I've been noticeable. I don't want to see Michigan be rewarded for behavior all year, so I don't mind standing on that track.
I don't know. Maybe you would rather root for them to win this football game and get embarrassed in the national stage.
Nah, nothing more embarrassing than losing to Iowa.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Not even that. It's so funny because we've had all this build up, and it's like wait till you get to the playoff and play a real team for you to only fall short against Iowa, a team that fired their OC because he wasn't winning. He wasn't scoring 25 points per game.
We're hammering the under 35.5.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
All yes. Right. Hammering the under. So there you go. We got Michigan to not cover the 23.5 points. And to definitely hammer the under over there. Let's go on to what I believe to be the second most least intriguing football game this weekend, and that's Texas versus Oklahoma State. Texas's defense has been susceptible to explosives in the passing game, particularly over the last several weeks, particularly against lesser than opponents. And you would look at the box score of Oklahoma State, and you'd say, Brooksy, the Cowboys throw it 40 times a game. Right? You'd say, Ollie Gordon. And then you'd realize, oh, shit, they throw it 40 times a game. Texas defense giving up explosives. Oklahoma State actually throws the football like a lot. 40 times a game is a lot. And then you'd come to realize that they only average 6.6 yards per attempt in the passing game. They've got passing games on the box score this year where their quarterback threw it 48 times for 248 yards. Just push that over off of that. For 248 yards, okay? It's mathematically almost impossible. You throw the ball 48 times in a football game for 248 yards. So basically what I'm telling you is Oklahoma State throws the ball just to say that they threw the ball. That's about it. There is no explosivity in this. It is the definition of an extension in their run game. So here's what's going to happen on Saturday. Texas is going to make Ollie Gordon very one-dimensional, and Oklahoma State very one-dimensional. Oklahoma State's going to throw it 40 times for 280 yards, rush it for less than 140, and they're going to lose this football game. I got Texas rolling 35-21 in this ball game.
I have a very similar analysis of that. I think that Texas's best weapon on defense is being able to stop your run.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State throws the ball, but they don't throw it really well. Texas should be able to win this game comfortably, I would say by 13 plus.
Yeah, I got Texas 31-17. I just think that Texas's defense is too good, and I also think that Texas has a really good offense as well, or a good enough offense to put up points and be efficient enough offensively to win you football games. And Oklahoma State does not have a great scoring defense this year, so I think Texas is going to win this game with pretty ease.
That being said, Mike Gundy, Big 12.
Exact Big 12 championship.
You know what I mean?
Last Big 12 championship for Texas.
Yeah,
that'd be a hell of a parting gift.
It would be, and they'd get them both. You know what I mean? We said it earlier in the week. They would have walked away with a win over Oklahoma and a win over Texas. So, it's weird. You got one football team playing for a college football playoff. You got another football team playing to ruin absolutely everything. It's not just ruin the playoff. It's dunk on Big Brother for the rest of eternity.
Yep.
That's a lot of juice.
Never get a clap back.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of juice to overcome if you're the Texas Longhorns. I think they do it. I've been very impressed with the way Sark has kind of managed his football team's emotions throughout the year. All right, so we all picked Texas in that one. We all picked Texas to cover, I believe, in that football game as well. Let's move on to the ACC. Man, I'm really, really perplexed in this one. I think Louisville's a really well-balanced, well-prepped football team. Okay, they are top 35 in offense. They are top 25 in defense. They're the definition of a well-balanced, well-coached team. Okay, they are a team that Florida State must become to win a title. That's who they are. Okay, Louisville is playing the game of football right now the exact way Florida State's going to have to do it to play a title, to win a title, which means we're going to have to win football games without requiring a ton from our quarterback. If you go through the game logs of Jack Plummer, first of all, played for 3 different schools. We hit it up this week. I dare you right now, without Googling, I don't know how I would test this, without Googling, comment right now in the chat the 3 schools that Jack Plummer played for. First of all, to let you know, just a hint, 3 different Power 5 programs, 3 different conferences. Good luck on that one. But anyways, they have games this year where Jack Plummer's, winning games throwing for 388 on 28 to 21 attempts, being super explosive. And then they have wins on the game log where he's only got 141 passing yards on like 14 attempts. So what I'm trying to tell you is they have found ways to just win in the margins, win being a well-coached, prepped football team, and winning by not beating themselves. I just wonder in this particular matchup, I want to pick Louisville so bad, but something tells me Florida State is good enough at the 21 other positions to win those 21 other matchups on a down-in and down-out basis where the pressure and the requirement, the workload on the quarterback is just not all that much to overcome. That being said, I don't know. It's the hardest game for me to pick. I'm going to pick FSU, and I don't feel good about it. I'm not even going to put a score on it. I'm just going to say FSU is going to win somehow, some way.
Florida State may be different on offense now because they don't have Jordan Travis, but they were still really good defensively. And I think that gets overlooked quite a bit because everybody wants to focus on the fact that they don't have Jordan Travis anymore. But the defense has been the key thing for this team the entire year. It's how they're able to win so many close games consistently. It's kind of what helped them win that Clemson game and helped them escape earlier in the year. And I think that's what's going to win them this football game against Louisville. I think Louisville is good on both sides of the football. I think they're good enough on both sides of the football to win this game. But I think Florida State's defense is too good to let them win this football game.
I've watched Louisville get smoked this year by mid-channel ACC teams. I've watched them flirt with losing to Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Florida State's kind of done the same thing, but I think Florida State has a much better ability to lean on you. than Louisville does. So I'm going to go Florida State in like a 24-13 type victory. I don't think it's ever really in question. I think it's always kind of, hey, maybe Louisville can make something happen here, but I think they just run out of time.
Classic drag you into the mud type football game.
For sure.
And that's going to have to be their recipe for success the
Gotta
rest
be.
of the year.
Yeah.
You got to make it ugly if you're Florida State.
All right, so we're all on Florida State.
Yeah.
Ooh. Shouts out to our Florida
I
State
think we've
subs.
all been in agreement for all 3 picks so far.
I think we have. Are we going to stay that way in the Pac-12? Everybody on Oregon? Let's talk about it. I think there is something to be said about Washington's ability to consistently survive. They just find ways. They hang around in football games. They make the big play when they need to. They make the throw that they need to when they need to. They get the turnover when they need to. They kick field goals when they make field goals late in football games when they need to. They get off the field on 4th downs, whether it be a drop or whatever. There is something to be said about this team constantly surviving death and constantly surviving the catastrophic. No rain in this football game going to play a factor. No weather. This game's going to be played inside on turf. So if you're a football team predicated on passing the football, never a better opportunity for you to play a 100% clean and unaffected football game. Everyone and their mama picking against Washington. Whole bunch of against the world vibes. Okay, they have the quote-unquote edge in this environment and in this game. Okay, they're the football team that's been doubted. That being said, man, Oregon has all the momentum in the world as a football team right now. They have all the confidence in the world. And I'm about to start putting Dan Lanning in one of those discussions of, oh, big game. Oh, got to get up. Oh, football players are going to be excited and ready to go. I like all of Dan Lanning and Kirby Smart in big-time, highly contested football games. Is your team going to be ready? Are you going to come out fast? I like Oregon in this football game by 10.
It boils down to this for me. Washington, you peaked too early. Oregon peaked at just the right time. They're playing their best brand of football here late in the season and consistently playing good football. It wasn't that they had a really good game against a mid-tier Pac-12 team and then they had another close one against one of the upper-tier Pac-12 teams and then did the same thing against a mid-tier. It was none of that. It was after we lost to Washington, we had to step it up a notch. We had to put the foot on the gas, and we had to prove ourselves all over again to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to be in the college football playoff when we do get this rematch, because we do want this rematch. And I think Oregon's coming into this football game with this mindset, and they're going to win.
Do we see any difference in approach on 4th down?
I hope so.
I don't know. I mean,
I would hope so.
He strikes me as I am who I am.
yeah, that's
That's
what I
true.
think.
Good point.
Dan Lang very much strikes me as a guy of, we made the right call, we didn't execute.
Stand on business.
Stand on business. It's
and
hard.
actually stand on business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I-
actually stand on it. Dan Lanning, barroom fight. Who you got over Dan Lanning in
In
college,
college
football
football
head coaches?
coaching? Oh, I don't know.
College football head coaches, Dan Lanning. We're going into an alley. Who's taking him out?
Oh, God, dude. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I would have said Derek Mason if he was still
Oh,
around.
yeah.
But
That's a
other
good call.
than that, no one currently.
I've met Derek Mason. He's a super nice guy, but also very jocked.
Oh, yeah.
Very jacked.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good call on Derek Mason.
But no, I boiled it down to one thing for me.
Come on.
It's so hard to beat a team twice in the same season. You rarely see it, and especially when a win like this was so marginalized. You won by 3 on a missed field goal in your home stadium. History just says to me that this is the game where the rematch, the team that lost originally just comes in and takes care of business. So I'll go Oregon as well.
All right. So there you go.
We're all
I got
for
some Ed Orgeron. Ooh, this is a good one. This might be the winner. Clark Lee.
Yeah,
Clark Lee loves pain. You know what I mean?
As a Vanderbilt coach,
Yeah, bro. It like volunteering to go back. Like, just hell yeah. I went to school there, and we sucked when I was there. I'm gonna go enjoy some more sucking over there.
Yeah.
That's some I enjoy pain.
Yeah, no, that's definitely like a David Goggins mentality.
Yeah,
Clark Lee versus Dan Lanning would be the fight of a century, dude.
Dan's got the reach.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
age advantage, doesn't he?
And Midwestern Missouri guy. You know what I mean? He out there. He dirty.
We're going to start getting labeled as a show of, let's think of a hypothetical fight situation, and let's talk about who's going to win.
I love those.
Save that
shows.
for the
Some
offseason.
of our best content to date, right there, baby. All right, so we're all on Oregon.
Yeah, we're 4 for 4 then.
All right, 4 for 4, and we're all. Well, no, you picked Alabama in the SEC championship game, didn't you?
That means
did.
mass chaos is going to ensue.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's
But-
gonna happen.
One of my unless it doesn't happen is I said every favorite wins.
That's
I said all the favorites win this weekend.
I mean, is that not what we just picked? Pretty much.
That's
It
what I
is.
picked.
We
Yeah.
went all chalk as usual.
We picked except for me. I picked
Except for
Bama
you,
to win.
You picked
Yeah,
Alabama
you picked
to
Bama to
win.
win. And I think that's you doing. I got the Goosies, and I got closets. I got ghosts in my closets.
Yeah, no, it's I said it on the show. It's definitely
Yeah.
not like logically speaking, Georgia is the better team. But we've seen this situation before where Georgia has the advantage on paper.
How about Brent Key in the ring versus Dan Lanning? Brent Key about 6'4". He big boy.
We're gonna be taking Georgia Tech grads in a bar fight.
That's a good point.
He's got
It's
a
a
point.
damn good point.
He's got a point.
Them dudes.
Very unfamiliar ground.
Dudes ain't ever lubricated. You're correct. Are we done?
Do you have any more unless it doesn't happen?
I got
Oh
one.
yeah, let me
I
go
got
back to
another
some of
one.
these. I got a couple.
got
What do you
two-
got?
I
Come
got
on.
two more.
Come on.
Let me give you one. I've got FSU just handles Louisville. I'm talking like comes in, strong arms them, beats them by 20 points, never really leaves a doubt. Like a 30-10 thing. I think that's I could very well fathom like FSU coming out and saying, "Oh, you don't think we're a top 4 team? Watch this. We're just going to manhandle this Louisville team because we're better than them at 21 other positions."
All of our FSU subscribers are gonna absolutely love you if all of this comes true. They're already gonna love you right now. You've been
I
on.
think we're going to be the only national show to have picked them across the board.
It sure feels like it. That's why I didn't feel like it was like an obvious pick to say.
After all week saying they don't deserve to be in the college football playoff. Except for you.
Not everybody.
Except for you.
My last,
I got one.
Oh no, I got one more left. I already said the other two. My last one is I think Carson Beck has the best performance of all the quarterbacks this weekend. Of every single quarterback, I think Carson Beck is the one that comes away as like, whoa.
All right, this one's a secret, so we got to get real close. Okay? Get real close. All right.
Well, I got to change the cameras then.
That's all right. Just come to two. Come to two. It's a close secret. Hey, it's a close secret. Ready?
What in the world?
Hey. Kamari Laster is going to kill someone in the flat on Saturday. Okay, just murder someone. Okay, don't tell nobody. All right, here we go. All right, hey, tremendous show for you guys.
I got one more. I got one more. Unless
No, we're ending it on Kamari Laster's going to kill someone.
Okay.
Unless you got something really, really good.
Nah.
All right. Hey, appreciate you guys for being here. It was a tremendous week. Last show, best show, as we promised you. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. If you were new here today, make sure you're subscribing. We love you. See you next week. No, we'll see you Sunday. We're going to be live here. Can anybody make it to the studio Sunday?
What time?
Yeah.
CFP rankings are at noon. So I think we need to be live right around then. Cutting it close?
I don't know.
Either way, I might do a solo show in here. We will be here Sunday to react and respond to the college football playoff rankings with you guys. So show up, show out. I love you. Have a good weekend.